let's turn our attentions to the next stages of the build. We are going to be building and placing onto the chassis, which we built earlier, the chassis links. There are two styles of chassis links. You've got the straight chassis links and the bent chassis links. Okay, so this step here is all about chassis links, and the number one connecting rod, as they call it, which is the bent one, which is this one, they are going to go on top of your trusses here and here, and then attach to the chassis. And then you've got the straight ones, which will be at the bottom of the trusses, these connectors here at the bottom, here and here, and they are going to attach again to your chassis, attach here and here. And we need to just make a little note here. It says once the top one's fairly easy to do. The second stage here, we need to, before putting the second set of the straight chassis links, we need to pop these little drive shafts, the outputs, into the drive shafts here to complete the connection of the drive shafts, because otherwise you're not going to be able to slip them in. But I'll show you that as we go. So let's do this in two stages. So using our number one screws, and as you can see, I laid out the number of screws that I need. This is kind of how I work. I tend to get everything I need. Let's take one of our bent, they call it our bent chassis rail, and we need to make sure this fits in the right screw. So on the chassis, if I can get this into camera shot, we need to make sure it fits on here. These only go one way, okay? So they come up from underneath, and the way these are chamfered, they actually collect that hole. So using one of your number one screws, you need to pop that in and attach that to the chassis. And you do that to all parts. Okay, so let's pop that in. And it says that when you tighten these, they need to be not too tight. So I think what they're trying to say is that these need to move, but not be too sloppy. But they need to move in order to move with the suspension of the system of the car itself. So I think that's about right. Okay. So the bent ones, I'll just do all four, attaching them to all four here, 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 and here. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. Just a quick tip when you're screwing these chassis links to the chassis rail. You know when you've gone too tough because this doesn't move. Look, you want them to move freely. So just when you've nipped it up, if you've gone too tight, just back it off a little bit, and just keep backing it off until you've got just the right amount. And I think that needs a little bit more, and all I'm doing is just backing that out. There you go, that's better. That's it, that should move nice and freely. Okay, so we now need to go and put on the straight links ready, and the straight links, they go on there and there, there and there. Okay, so we'll get the straight links on, and again fasten those with the number one screws. So showing you how to put one of these straight ones on. So again, get your chassis link, turn your chassis how you like to work. I'm trying to show you this on the camera so you can see it. Pop that in through the bottom hole, and then tighten that screw through. Give that a tighten, and you know when it's too tight, because if you lift that out, look, it's not moving. So I need to back that off. I need to just back it off so that just drops by itself. Yep, there we are. So now you've got the straight links and the bent links on the car, ready now for the axles to go on. Hopefully you can see those. There we are. There we are. Actually, I'm getting to like this WPL chassis. Actually, it's quite a nice chassis to build. Actually, my respect actually to WPL, the fact that they actually designed their own rather than copying somebody else's and making it in miniature. They've actually gone about and done their own thing and their own chassis. So my respect to WPL, guys. You've a fantastic job. It can't be very easy, actually, thinking about it. But yeah, let's crack on. Great. Now we have our chassis links on our chassis. This is the chassis upside down. This is the front because it's denoted with the servo at the front. We now need to take our front axle, and remember we need to put it this way around because the steering is going to attach to there. Okay, so first of all, let's put on the bottom, the bent, they call it the bent chassis links. And that attaches to the top of the truss. You remember the truss, we had the truss this way around. This is the little truss that goes over the top. So that attaches, again, using the number 1 screws. You literally just pop the chassis links over the top of there. You just literally screw through, like so. Like that, there's one. And then, let's see if I can, again, I'm turning this so because I don't know if you're about to see because of the black plastic, but it's, let's see, so 2 locked into place. So see if the camera can pick that out in there, look, there and there. Okay, all right. So now that's in place and they're tight. Again, don't go too tight because if you go too tight, you're just going to strip out the plastic and you don't want that. Just finger tight. So it's done. Right, now, and do you remember the little tip at the bottom here? It says, warning, when finishing an assembly of one side, the number 2 connecting rod, you should assemble 2 of the transmission shafts, front and rear, before assembling the other side of the number 2 connecting rod. The idea, what I think they're trying to get you here, is that you connect these into place first before the connecting rod, like that and like that, so that you don't have to bend there. That's what they're trying to get at there. Okay, so that's that put on, and we can't put a screw on here yet because we need to put the dampers. So the idea here is that the damper itself, that will actually come along if you sort of need to maneuver it into place. So that now fixes over the top of there as well, and that cups across. Pop the damper in place as well, and now that the damper is in place on the front, you see, we can now pop a screw in, again the number 1 screws, and attach that in there. So again, take your number 1 screws into the side, and again, don't go too mad, you just need to nip it up. So again, I'm going to come around this side so you see if you can see what I'm doing. There we go. And this isn't very tough plastic, so just enough that you need. Okay, there we are. And we have to do the same again for the rear axle. So we're going to get ourselves arranged. Here we are. Pop the small ones onto the bottom. The screws. Like so. Again, too mad. I'll try and show you this on camera if I can. Then connect your drive shafts. So they're connected. Your bottom, your straight links. then not forgetting your damper. Couple of number 1 screws. Hopefully you can get this into shot. Here we go. So now we have our basic chassis all in place. So that's that step completed. We move on.